Hello and welcome back to Aussie Frugal Family. My name is Rachel, and on this channel we chat about the cost of living and how expensive everything is and how our family of 4 are making ends meet on a fairly tight budget. If you've been watching the last few videos, you will know that we are currently on a grocery budget of $150 a week, and that's for 2 adults, a toddler, a baby, a dog, and a cat. I am thinking about starting to order the dog food from like a delivery place, Budget Pet Products, just because we are always trying to find ways to not support Coles and Woolies, and to support other organizations or businesses instead. And he should be eating some better food, I think. None of the supermarket food is particularly good. So yeah, I think we might do that. It also means like I won't have to think about it. So similarly, we get our nappies delivered. I get those for free for doing social media sponsorship things for Comfy Koalas. And it's so nice that they just get delivered and then I don't have to think about it. So I think I am going to start doing that for the dog as well. I don't know. Let me know if you know of any reasonably affordable pet food delivery places. So today is a meal prep Monday. It's Sunday for me, but it'll be Monday for you. The husband has taken the kids down to his parents' place so I can get some stuff done. It is probably going to be a little bit different this week. I didn't do much last week, and I'm not going to be doing much meal prep this week either, because this week I want to get through some of our freezer food. We have a whole lot of stuff in the freezer at the moment. So yeah, I'm going to try and get through some of that. Let's have a look. So we have a big stash of leftovers in our freezer at the moment. Some of this is stuff the husband won't eat, like the soup, and there's like a tuna bacon, stuff like that he won't eat. That's fine. It just means that I will be eating those. So I'm going to try and eat, I usually eat 2 lunches because I'm breastfeeding and I'm always starving. So I'm going to try to eat 2 of these a day. I'll probably do a soup and something else. And then these are just the husband's lunches for the week as well. They are just leftover dinners. In this bit of the freezer, we have a whole bunch of veggies. We've got some pasta. There's some rice that I've taken out. I just want to get a bit more organized with the fridge freezer and use some stuff up so that I have more room again. I do have dinners sort of organized in the fridge. Tonight we're going to be doing pizza, homemade pizza. So I've got some chicken that is defrosted that I will cook up, and there's also some bacon from the freezer. So I'll cook up a little bit of the bacon and some of the chicken today, and then tonight I will pop it onto pizzas for the fam. Tomorrow night we have some butter chicken sauce. This is the last of my prepped butter chicken sauces, so I'm going to use that. We have some frozen rice as well, and also some frozen chicken. So I'm just going to cook up the chicken and I'll heat the rice and heat the sauce, and we'll have a butter chicken. And I'm also defrosting a steak for the next night. So we've got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then I will probably do some mincy meals as well. Actually, you know what? I might put in the diced beef instead, and we might do some slow cooker meals because that's going to be easier for me. Okay, so I have my little dinners planned out. Pizza tonight, butter chicken, steak. We'll have a beef stew, I think, with the diced beef. And then we might do taco bowls. I don't know if I'll do that with the chicken or the diced beef yet. Friday night, we're bringing back pizza night. It got a little bit crazy with the toddler doing swimming and everything on Friday nights. But the toddler's swimming lesson has moved to a bit earlier, so we will be able to reinstate pizza night. Yay! And look, who knows what will happen on the weekend. So yeah, I don't have too much to prep. I might try and do some kids snacks. I will see how I feel. I'm pretty tired. We've had a big week. We always have a big week. But yeah, let's get into it.
So the first thing that I'm going to do is cook up the bacon for the pizzas tonight. So I'm just using a little bit of chicken fat. I always keep the fat that rises to the top of my bone broth when I make it, and then I put it in the freezer, and then I use that for cooking. I feel like that reduces costs with things like, you know, I'm not using butter or oil. I'm using something that's sort of like a byproduct of something I'm making anyway. So yeah, chucked a bit of that in the cast iron and then popped the bacon in, and I just cooked that up until it was nice and brown and crispy. And I try to do whatever I can at the start of the day for dinner, just when I have time to do it, because I find it quite difficult to do it in the afternoon. Often the baby wants an afternoon nap, and yeah, it's just easier to do whatever I can, whenever I can, so that I'm prepared. So while I was cooking the bacon, I also popped on a loaf of bread. I would usually do a sourdough, but I actually found out this day that my sourdough starter had died. It had gone mouldy. I had left it out on the bench for probably a bit too long, and we've had very, very hot days lately. So yeah, went mouldy. So I decided to make a different loaf from the book. I had a little look through. This is just the book that came with the bread maker. And so many of their regular loaves have like sugar and milk powder and all these different ingredients. But I found one called Italian bread that just had the basics. So it was flour, olive oil, salt, water, and yeast. So I am happy to ingest those ingredients. It makes for a healthier and, I guess, more authentic sort of bread, without the sugar and things like that. So yeah, I made that and it came out so good. Oh my gosh, my husband loved it, but we will get to that. So I popped my bread into the bread oven to cook. The good thing about this loaf is it takes a lot less time than the sourdough. The sourdough is 5 hours. This is only an hour and 55 minutes, which is great. I took my bacon out of the pan and then I chopped up some chicken because we are going to do 2 pizzas tonight, the bacon one and the chicken one. This chicken was still a little bit frozen, but that actually made it so much easier to cut up, so I didn't mind at all. So once again, I just cut up a little bit of the fat that I had stored in the freezer, popped that in the cast iron pan, and then cooked the chicken in there. I didn't clean it after the bacon either, so yeah, I just feel like that's extra flavour. I don't know. While I was preparing for dinner, I also decided to chop up the last of this cabbage that we had in the fridge, because I always feel like having something a little bit like crisp and fresh with pizza is a good idea, especially when you're having like bacon pizza or like really cheesy pizza. It just gets a bit greasy and it's nice to have something fresh and crunchy on the top. We like to have cabbage on the top. It tastes really good. Because I don't really have a lot of stuff to meal prep this week, I'm going to do a lot of sort of ingredient prep. So I'm just grabbing out some veggies to chop up for our other dinners that we're going to have this week. So like the beef stew and things like that. I am chopping up half of this cauliflower to be used as cauliflower wings, and then half of it will be used in the beef stew that I'm going to make later on in the week. For the cauliflower wings, I have shown me making them before, but I did these ones a little bit differently. I would usually breadcrumb them at the end. I just didn't do that this time because I couldn't be bothered. But basically it's some seasoning. I just used a Mingle seasoning packet. I can't even remember which one. Was it the barbecue one? I think so. And then I just sort of winged it with the batter. So it was just this, some milk and some flour, and yeah, just mix it all up, and then I just chucked the cauliflowers in there to batter them up. I would usually spend a bit more time making sure they were properly coated in the batter. The batter was probably a bit too thick, but again, I just couldn't be bothered. I didn't know how long I would have this morning and I was super tired, so this was good enough. So I then got the veggies ready that I was going to add into the beef stew. I love doing stews because they're just so easy. You can put whatever you want in them. So I had a little bit of leftover cauliflower, so I added that. I also added some carrot and potato and onion. It seriously makes life so much easier, even just to have the veggies chopped up ready to go for dinner. Yeah, it really makes putting the dinner together a lot easier, and also makes the idea of like takeaway or something like that not as appealing, because it's like, oh, I've chopped the veggies, I have to use them. So yeah, it's a really good way to make sure that you're eating at home as well. So like I said, not going to do much today, so this will probably be the last thing. I'm just going to make some mulberry muffins. We have a little mulberry tree in our backyard. It's just a dwarf one, but it gets pretty big. And this is the first year that we have had heaps of mulberries from it. I don't know if it's because they like that bit of dry weather and it's been really dry, but yeah, so many mulberries. I've never made mulberry muffins before, but I just sort of assumed it was the same premise of any sort of berry muffins, right? I'm sure it'll be good. The annoying part was de-stemming all of the mulberries. If you grew up in Australia or I don't know, anywhere that has mulberries, you may have very fond memories of like walking home from school, stumbling upon a mulberry tree, picking a whole lot of berries and coming home just absolutely covered in mulberry stains. And yeah, this was a nice little throwback to those days for me. Very stained hands. I don't know if I necessarily needed to take the stems out. Actually, I sort of feel like I did. It would have been a bit yucky biting into a muffin and getting the stem. But let me know if you have made them with the stems. Maybe they just cook into it. I don't know. Anyway, I removed them and it took a very long time. Once I had my mulberries all destemmed, it's pretty much just a matter of mixing wet and dry ingredients. I don't actually remember what recipe I used for this. I just Googled a blueberry muffin recipe and used it. So sorry, I don't know. But yeah, it just had your basics in it. So it had flour, sugar. I was meant to use baking powder, but I forgot to buy some in my top-up shop. And then this one also had coconut oil and milk and an egg as well. So I don't know, you can probably figure out the measurements from looking at what is on the screen. I don't know if you're very clever. So yeah, I just added the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients. Once again, just making sure that if you have warm coconut oil or warm butter or whatever, just make sure not to pour it directly onto the egg because you do not want to cook your egg before it goes into your batter. Then I just gave it a little mixy mix and then added in my, I was going to say blueberries, mulberries. And just look at the beautiful colour of this batter. Just like mulberries stain our hands, it also makes a very delightful muffin batter. It went so like deep purple. My toddler was calling these purple muffins. So yeah, that was fun. So once I had mixed the batter up, I just spooned them into my muffin tray and just made sure that I put enough batter in each one to fill up the whole muffin tray. And then I baked them, I don't know for how long, I don't know on what temperature. I'm assuming 180 for, I don't actually know, 20 minutes, whatever, just cook them until they're cooked. And then this is what they looked like when they came out of the oven. How beautiful. I let them cool down a bit and I could not resist eating some, obviously, and they were delicious. I think I ended up eating 4 this day. I will definitely be making these again next week.
Okay, my very light bread is out of the bread oven. I've got my muffins that I've already eaten a million of, and I have all of our dinners ready to go, basically. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about everything. Even just having veggies chopped up and ready to go just helps so much. All of our lunches are organized. We've got eggs for brekkie. I'm feeling pretty good. I probably should make some lunch boxes for the kids for tomorrow, but I couldn't be bothered. I'm gonna go sit down, eat another muffin and watch some YouTube before my children get home. So yeah, probably a bit of a less interesting one this week, but I have a feeling next week will be a big meal prepping week. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Stick around to see what we eat throughout the week. And yeah, I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Goodbye.